As the Kansas City Chiefs vets start to arrive at training camp, we have some roster transactions that took place today that we're going to dive a little bit deeper into. But before we do that, please be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video, as I'm going to keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out during the NFL season. And without further ado, let's jump into this news. So starting off the day, the Chiefs made two transactions, and they were both at the left tackle position, or tackle position, however you want to view it. And the Kansas City Chiefs signed, I'm going to read the names because I'm probably going to butcher it. I know one I got is David Steinmetz and Evan. Ooh, I don't even want to know if I would do your name justice, so we're just going to call you Evan and go from there. But they signed two left tackles. Honestly, both of them don't have too much experience. Evan, I couldn't find anything whatsoever with him. I think this is actually his first year in the league. And as for David Steinmetz, he's played 3 games, hasn't started any, so that just lets me know that's just a depth position going into training camp, and we all know why. And when you look deeper into it, it makes your mind think, because yes, as we do see it as a depth position, it's what's trickulating down with this Orlando Brown situation. We got news on that today too from Mike Galliflorio, who butchered his name too, but you guys know on NFL Network that he announced that Orlando Brown Jr. does intend to hold out throughout the training camp, and then we will see how that proceeds throughout preseason and regular season. Now, it depends on what kind of fan or how you view the Kansas City Chiefs and Orlando Brown to take on what this holdout can mean. Honestly, I'm 50-50 with it. One point, I'm not too shocked he held out. On another, I'm like, why are you holding out though? I would get it if an extension was still on the line and there was something to still be holding out for, but you can't get an extension until next year. So what are we holding out for? Like, just to prove your point, to hold your stance on what you think you need to be? And even if you are, again, that price point can't be met until next year. I get maybe if you're holding out a training camp because you want to avoid injury and you don't want to get hurt before you get paid, which again, that's knock on wood, it could happen to anybody. So I think you're also putting yourself in a bad light not going to camp, because again, like I mentioned, and I'm going to keep mentioning it probably throughout this video, is you can't sign an extension until next offseason. So the team's going to look at you like, why aren't you here? Like, there's no need to hold out. Again, unless you guys want to let me know there's something I'm missing out on. Maybe there is a good reasoning why Orlando Brown is holding out. But even if this goes out through training camp, let's say it starts dipping into the preseason, what I mentioned in prior videos as well is, are you going to be football ready? We all know there's a difference of being in shape and being in football shape. And if it gets too close to the regular season, I know that Andy Reid and the crew, if it's week 1 and he tries to show up a week before and be like, I'm ready to play, if you're not in football shape, I don't think Coach Reid is going to throw you in that starting lineup. And that just makes it all worse. I think it's best if you come and you practice with your team and you try to get this Super Bowl championship and you try to prove you are the best left tackle in the league, and you make the Kansas City Chiefs basically regret not offering you more money. But holding out, we've seen it in past with any position, any player. I don't think it helps them out whatsoever. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. For me, I don't know what direction this can go. I've mentioned I find it highly unlikely that he's going to miss any games, but he's already proven his point that he's going to hold out through training camp. Maybe the money isn't that big of an issue to him to lose, but it was a big issue for him to sign it and get. Like I mentioned, if he holds out, he's due $1 million every game of a fine. That's $16 million throughout the season. That's what his franchise tag comes to. He's only made $3 million in his career so far in the NFL. He doesn't have that type of money to blow. So I can't see him holding out too many games in the NFL. My main concern with this whole thing is show up in football shape, because if you get too close and Kansas City throws you out there and you don't look good, you hurt yourself and you hurt the team too. And then you hurt your value next year and you're not going to get the contract you think you deserve. So let's see how it all pans out. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a topic for debate throughout this training camp and preseason until something gets resolved. Of course, the contract won't get resolved, but until he shows up to camp and it seems like he's at least happy to play and happy to fight for a new contract, We'll just have to see how it all comes down full. Now diving into another topic the Kansas City Chiefs announced today was wide receiver Justyn Ross, the rookie out of Clemson, their undrafted guy they signed just recently into the summer. He was announced that he was put on injured reserve, and honestly, this is not too big of a surprise for me. I know a lot of Chiefs Kingdom is taking this in a sour way, which I guess if you had high hopes and high expectations for him coming into this year, I could understand. But I never held that type of hat for him because we knew what kind of injuries he was battling, whether it be with his leg or his back, and it tends to be with his foot. That's what he has surgery on, and we all saw those photos leak last week, and we all knew, ooh, this doesn't tend to be looking good. But for me, it was, I didn't hear no new injuries reported on the foot, so I think this was more of Coach Reed and the team and Justyn Ross agreeing, hey, let's get this foot right. Let's not just throw you out on the field and basically get yourself hurt. Let's get you the surgery you need. Let's make you the best player you can be so that when you are on the field, you'll be a valuable option for us when it comes that time. And unfortunately, it isn't this year. But when 2023 comes around, he's going to be fully healthy. And that's what a lot of Chiefs Kingdom should be excited for, because you weren't going to get a full healthy Justyn Ross. And that was another thing I want to mention too, like I mentioned earlier, was this a new injury? And it wasn't. It was something he just didn't feel right throughout OTAs. He felt like his foot didn't feel the where it needed to be. So that's where they came to the conclusion, like, hey, let's get you the surgery, let's get you right. And I think that helps boost his confidence too, that he has a team fully behind him, and not just any team, a Super Bowl championship team with one of the greatest quarterbacks behind him that can help his career in the long run. He's going to be a good asset on this team. Just in the future, it's nothing to be too concerned about. I think he'll be really, really good in this offense when this time comes. We got the little clip of the one-handed catch on the sideline. He's going to be a problem maker, you guys. Don't worry too much about the injury concern. This is not a new injury. This is something they need to clean up. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs made the right call with that, because last thing you want is for that to get worse, and then the kid doesn't have a career that he deserves to have. Coach Reed and staff is playing this correctly. I love how they are treating this. Speedy recovery to Justyn Ross, and I can't wait to see him hit the field next year. And I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for checking this video out. Let me know how you feel about this Orlando Brown situation or this Justyn Ross injury concerns. Honestly, on both of them, Orlando Brown, we're going to see how it plays out. And for Justyn Ross, he's going to be a beast when the time comes. But before I do close this video out, you guys, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, because I'm going to keep you up to date on anything Kansas City Chief related that you do not want to miss out on. And I'm going to close this out. Y'all take care. Check back in with y'all later. Peace.